Hey everybody, Laugo Alien here. Today we're going to talk about some of the things I use in cleaning my Laugo Arms Alien Pistol. For those of you who do have one of these, you have probably found that pistol gets quite dirty. And these are some of the things I've picked up that make it a little easier to clean the gun. And for those of you who don't have one or are interested in it, you get to see some of the cleaning process and actually what gets dirty in the pistol. So let's go over some of the tools and things that I use here first. So one, I use a bore snake. This is the tool, it comes with the Alien itself. This goes into the gas port. I use a 22 long rifle nylon brush, also for the gas port. I use this hard nylon brush, help it clean the gas piston. This is a real Avid AR scraping tool for AR bolts. This hook makes it a lot easier to help clean the rings and the edges on the piston. Then I also use this cleaning pick. It's got a little beveled edge, makes it easier to kind of get things into the sides of the frame. The frame's kind of thin here, so this tool makes it easy to get a patch in there and clean and scrape out some gunk that builds up. It's not really, doesn't get really difficult to clean the frame itself. It's just this gas piston and gas port, really. And the cleaners, I'll use a ball stall so that I can squirt it inside the gas port and the barrel. This is the lubricant I like to use, Ran CLP. I usually use this for ARs. Since those are gas operated guns, this really helps keep carbon from sticking to some places, and it's a little thicker than most oils. That's why I like to use it. It helps keep parts lubricated as it doesn't fly off as easily as some thinner oils do. This is the carb movement that comes with the Alien Pistol. I've been using this and I've been very pleased at how it works, and I've liked it so much that I went out and bought a big Gigunda bottle, which should last forever, hopefully. And one thing I do use with that is this little container. I put some of the carb remover in, and it makes it easier to soak the piston. You can just drop it in the bottle, and the dirty part of the piston is at the bottom, as you can see. It makes it easy to soak it. Take it out, rub it down, good to go. So, how do we clean this thing? Well, where does it get dirty? It gets dirty basically everything forward to this piston port. So, those of you who are not familiar with this, this is the gas piston for the gun. Fits into this port here, and when you fire the gun, it's pushing the piston forward, keeping the slide closed as the bullet leaves the barrel, and then the pressure from the bullet pushes the slide back. Pressure drops, allows the piston to come back forward along with the recoil rod and recoil spring. So this is where a majority of the dirt and gunk get built up inside this port and on the piston. Everything else for the most part wipes off pretty easily. So in the sides of the frame you can see some stuff in there. In the back you see some stuff. Just kind of wipe it down. You can wipe this down fairly like standard stuff like other pistols. There's the recoil rod itself. When you have the spring on, it fits into here like this. It's making a liar out of me. There we go. And the spring fits on here. So this just wipe it down. It's pretty simple. Slide gets dirty on the insides, where all the gas gets ejected out of that port, and on the front here, across the breech face. The other parts don't get too bad. You just wipe them down. For the most part, I also use some of the brushes to help clean that. And the top rail of the Alien, just up here, really is where it gets kind of dirty. This is the port where the gas will come fly out the side, and a little bit on the front. So once again, this is something that doesn't get super dirty. You just kind of wipe it down. No big deal. So the procedures I use for cleaning the gas piston and gas port, which is basically the most difficult thing. For the gas port, I'll take some of this carbon cleaner here, squirt a couple of shots, 2 or 3 shots into the hole, let it soak for a bit, about like 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes. Take the nylon brush, get it in there, spin it as I pull it in, spin it coming out, helps break up any of the loose stuff. Anything that it doesn't get, I then use the carbon scraper tool provided with the gun. You kind of go in like this, scrape, get it in there, go back and forth a few times, come back out, wiggling it. And after that, to clean it up, I'll take some Blistol, squirt that in there, and take a patch, squirt that down with Blistol also, put it in the tool here, thread it through. Doing this on camera is really super easy and fun, like that. And with it soaked in, with this soaked in Blistol and the port, I then go in there. It's like cleaning like a barrel, basically. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle into the port, get it in there, come back out. I do this like, a few times until the gas port comes out cleaner. And you can see some stuff is in there now. And just for the record, this pistol has only shot 50 rounds, and you can see how dirty that gas piston gets. And after I put a few soaked patches, Blistol soaked patches in there, I've been put 3 or 4 dry patches in, and you're good to go. Now for the piston, I'll wipe this down first, get some of the lube, I'll put some of the Ran CLP on here, which basically blasts off on the bottom, but it helps keep, for the most part, clean at the top, you can see. Wipe this down, I'll take the nylon brush, scrape it up just a little bit, help loosen up the carbon. Then I'll dump it in to this bottle here. So demonstrate, take off the cap, put it in like this, boop, and you see it hangs on there, and it gets into that carbon part. Let that sit for like 10 minutes or so. Then I'll take it out. Do a couple of whack jobs. And scrape, scrape, scrape. But with this tool a little more, get off more, get a lot of it, get most of it off basically. Put it back into the bottle again, let it soak another 5-10 minutes. And then I'll get at it with this carbon scraping tool. So for the most part, after doing that a couple times, majority of this carbon is gone, except for the edges of this ring. So then I'll take the tool here, there's the hook. That actually works out well, has an edge on it. Kind of get it up against the round part, and I start going around the edge with the tool. I'll do this on camera, and let's not do it on that one. Here we go. And I'll begin to scrape some of that carbon off the edge. Keep it nice and clean. And I'll go all around each ring that gets really dirty. And just kind of do this on camera, but this does actually work pretty well to get this stuff off. And I've done it almost to new by doing this. It didn't take too long. It takes a little bit more time. There we go. See, starting to get some carbon off there. Takes a little more time than a regular pistol. Obviously, this is almost like more like cleaning an AR type bolt kind of scenario than anything else. But that's basically what I use to help clean that piston and gas port. Everything else wipes down fairly easily. So hopefully some of these tips or tricks help. I definitely found that these tools definitely helped quite a bit, especially the scraper tool, because getting carbon off that piston is kind of a pain. And once you get this on there pretty good, it's hard to do on camera, but the carbon comes right off. And it's good to go, brand new again. Oh, so last thing is, where do I lube the gun? So I'll take the Ran CLP. Like I said, it's a little thicker than oil, so it helps stay where you put it. So you see in the sides of the frame, I'll put a couple drops. So drop here, drop here, drop here, drop there. Maybe a little bit here. You can see where the slide kind of made a little groove there, sitting on top. So I'll make sure that's lubed. You see some wear on top of the slide stop, so I make sure there's lube here. Lube on the top and the frame in the back here. Some on top of the barrel. Inside this section where the recoil rod goes and that spring sits. And you see this actually sits in here like this. So when it's in battery, it sits like this. As it recoils, this rod goes through and slides in this groove with this ring that captures the spring. And I make sure this is lubed and a little drop inside this hole as well. Also put a drop or two inside the gas port. It helps keep some of the carbon from sticking in there. And I just use a little bit, just kind of coat it, a couple drops. So I put the piston in, I'll put some on the piston, rub it in inside and out. Make sure that's lubed. And that pretty much takes care of the frame. And for the slide, it's very simple. Put some on the sides here, on the bottom of the rails. On the inside, I'll coat it with my finger on the bottom here where it goes in the barrel. This section here that goes on top of the bottom of the frame, top back of the frame there. I'll put a little bit here, just kind of coat it with my finger. You see there's some wear there where the hammer goes back and forth. The slide goes back, that cocks the hammer slides over it. So that actually helps smooth it out, keeping some lube there. The rail, not so much. Some of it basically is coming from the parts of the slide, but I really don't put too much on the rail, really. I might just coat it with my finger, just to have some lube, because the slide does move back and forth over the hammer here, but nothing crazy. But for the most part, that's it for lube. And as I said, keeping these spots in the sides of the frame, I found have worked best so far, and keeping lube in here, as well as the slide itself. So when you don't have the rail on top, you just actuate the slide with the recoil rod and piston in. You feel it's nice and smooth. I fooled around with how much lube does this thing need, and I found those sections I mentioned kind of help it perform the best in terms of how smooth the slide will rack once the gun's back together. Well, hopefully these help, and thanks for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or whatever, comment section below. Thanks again. Have a good one. Big Alien out.